Hello everyone, my name's John, I'm wearing a small maroon beanie and it's time for another album review. This week I'm staying slightly in the same territory in the fact that I am reviewing another album from my home country of Denmark, but don't worry, this album is in English, so I'll be staying in English for this video. This week's review is on the new Lydmor album, Capacity. Lydmor, literally Sound Mother, is the stage name of producer, multi-instrumentalist, and singer Jenny Rosander. And she's been at it making music for over a decade now. I first discovered Lydmor when I was watching a documentary on the Roskilde Festival of 2019. And there was a segment about Lydmor specifically, and they focused a lot on her stage performances, and I was really intrigued by it. It was very unique and interesting to look at. I checked out her then newest album, I Told You I'd Tell Them Our Story, and I was pretty intrigued with at least a handful of the tracks, but I had a hard time listening through the entire thing. Still kept a close eye to Lydmor ever since, and now finally her new album is out. So let's get reviewing. First track is Amanda's Lullaby.
You just gotta wait around for your turn. Please don't get too overconfident, you will get burned.
Amanda's Lullaby reminds me a lot of like a beach house track just right off the bat. I think it's just the layered vocals, but there's a strong connection here. Even though it's called Amanda's Lullaby, this is anything but a lullaby. The song is mainly a cappella, but there's some pulsing gritty synth and just that adds some extra weight to every phrase. Since her album in 2018, she's spent a lot of time writing music for theater pieces. And I can definitely feel that she took inspiration from that field on here. Rosander has been an open feminist for a while now, but somehow Amanda's Lullaby is the most feminist I've ever heard her in her music. She speaks of how society's ideals for women is just impossible to reach, especially the line, "Loud is not a female virtue, but neither is tight-lipped," is explaining how women can neither be too much nor too little. It is a great opener. Fantastic opener. Next track is Nevada.
I just wanna know where you are. Nevada, you still holding on while I'm broken down.
Nevada features a favorite artist of mine, which is the Faroese singer Ivra. And I was excited to see this crossover, and it's pulled off decently. I would maybe have loved seeing Ivra have some more presence on here, but with a rare crossover like this, I cannot be picky. Nevada really just is a huge contrast to Amanda's Lullaby right off the bat. This is kind of like a chamber pop banger, and I can definitely feel there's taken some inspiration from Ivra's music in this track. And yeah, it's pretty poppy, but at the same time it reminds me of like some Björk kind of stuff. But maybe it's just like the whole Nordic aesthetic that Ivra brings to the table. It's a decent track, but I mean, I just feel something's missing, and I don't know what. Next track, Diamond Breeze.
A diamond breeze from the ocean is giving me the midnight street lights.
Diamond Breeze is a pretty lighthearted track, sampling some like what sounds like elevator music, but through Rosander's amazing production skills, she turns this into a fucking groove. The melodic chorus is just really catchy, and like the kind of spoken word verses as well really shows off her flamboyant personality that I love so much. Kind of reminds me of like the Katy Perry track Chained to the Rhythm, but like good. Next track, Labyrinth-Faced Man. Diamond Breeze perfectly fades out into Labyrinth-Faced Man with some more somber piano playing, and it just really helps calming down from this lightheartedness of Diamond Breeze. And furthermore, the track transitions very well into the next track, Emma Spins.
No one say that to Emma.
MS Spins, again, is a huge contrast to everything before it, this being a pretty simple piano ballad. And Lydmor's lyrics turn more poetic and her singing more pretty. Otherwise, I don't have that much to say about this track. The track has a hard time keeping my attention for very long, but I mean, at least it does have a very calming nature to it. I could definitely imagine myself maybe falling asleep to this song. Not because it's boring, but because it's calming. So I mean it in a good way. Next track, Someone We Used to Love.
Nothing matters less to us than the feelings of someone we used to love.
Rosander just keeps contrasting from track to track. We go from Emma Spin's this piano ballad to Someone We Used to Love is just a thumping electropop banger, almost just tailored to be played at clubs and shit. Can't help but bob my head when this EDM-like drop comes in at the chorus, and it's packed with so much energy, and the synth work is fantastic all the way through. Definitely hear some inspiration from the likes of something like Stromae, and I dig it. I dig it a lot. Next track, LSD Heart.
LSD.
LSD Heart features some snappy production and some very interesting auto-tuned vocals that reminds me a lot of an artist known as Wokes. It also reminds me of maybe some early Seb Delisa work too. The song returns with some more feminist-driven lyrics, and here Jenny comments on the disgusting patriarchy of modern art. I didn't care for it at first when it came out as a single like 2 years ago, but hearing it in context of the album, it started to grow on me, to be honest, and I like it now. Next track, Guilty Kill Me.
Guilty, guilty, kill me.
Contrarily to LSD Hard, I adored Guilty Kill Me just at first listen, and I still listen to it regularly. On this track, Lydmor takes a look inwards and she grows more self-reflective and thoughtful. As the name implies, she speaks of how she feels guilty for supposedly hurting someone she loves. The production on here is unlike anything I've ever heard before, and I enjoy it just as much as I did on release. Next song up is the Gadget song.
So long, so long, so long. You're strong, so tough, but you're wrong.
The Gadget song was another single that I didn't really care for all that much. It's pretty decent, but not something I was really excited about. The lyrics speak of how Jenny has felt like men have treated her like some sort of gadget, something you use a couple times and then you forget about it, which is something I feel not only women but also everybody can relate to. And had I not listened to these lyrics, I probably still wouldn't care for this song, but I feel that the message itself is something of value. Next track is Amanda's Dream.
He points his gun at us and everything disappears. Everything just vanishes. Everything pours out of me like water. I die.
Woo! Amanda's Dream, man. Amanda's Dream, of course, clearly makes a connection to the opening track, Amanda's Lullaby. Amanda's Dream is a harrowing spoken word piece speaking of this dream this Amanda character had. Or rather, it's a nightmare. In this nightmare, she witnesses a terror attack where there are men killing women. And this includes Amanda herself being killed in the end, causing her to wake up from said dream. And it's a borderline terrifying experience, especially with like the different sound effects and the way the vocals, they dance around in the right and left channels. And you really just disappear into the story, and when the final "and then I wake up" thing comes, you feel like you wake up from a dream too. And this waking up from the dream really throws you right into the next track, which is Go Slow But Go.
You might tell us we are fools. Ooh. says they know, they know, they know.
After we wake up from the dream, we enter a part of the album that somehow feels very separate from the rest, without necessarily doing anything differently. The chorus features some heavily distorted riffs and paired with some more auto-tuned vocals, which again reminds me of some Septiliza work. This track just has it's a very pulsing energy, kind of reminiscent of the Black Country New Road album I reviewed a couple weeks back, where there's some oscillating nature. It goes up and then it goes down and goes up and it takes a little detour. It's very much the same that happens on here, but just in a more compact package. Next track is Heavier in Life.
Go make somebody else heavier in life. Heavier in life.
Heavier in Life features some Blaue Blume-esque guitar, and I really appreciate it. Somehow this song feels very nostalgic. I can't really describe it, but it just makes me think of good memories, especially with like her Rose Anders bright vocals on the chorus. Even though the lyrics talk about, again, being treated like absolute shit by men, pretty much, or a lover in general. But I just really love this track. Next track, If You Want Capacity.
Or do I bore you? Do I bore you? Am I boring you?
For being the title track in this album, I don't feel it bears all that much significance at all. Kinda just sounds like a laid-back club song, and the beat is interesting, don't get me wrong. I especially like the synth work, and it kinda reminds me of the Kanye track Fade. And even some parts it turns to like an almost Daft Punk sounding piece. And in general, there's nothing necessarily wrong with it. In the chorus, Lydmor repeats the lyric, "Do I bore you?" And honestly, she kinda does. But this song is it's dependent on my mood a lot. Like if I'm in a good mood, I can vibe to this. I can vibe to this song a lot. But if I am tired or in a bad mood, this just doesn't do anything for me. So I'm very split on my opinion on it. But I mean, it is just very long. There was no reason why this song should be 6 minutes long. Last track, Hotel Ads.
You really didn't care last Tuesday. Now a lot of classes slithering all over town.
I don't have much to say about Hotel Ads, really. The instrumentation is pretty simple, and Rose Anders' vocal delivery is pretty down-tuned for the most part. And it's kind of an awkward way to finish this very diverse album with such a generic ballad. It's kind of a bummer, really. Oh well. Let's go to the conclusion.
So lost. You're leaving already. Oh, you forgot I was sexy. I'ma try to keep a straight face for you. Fuck.
Jenny Rosander, aka Lydmor, delivers her most diverse and explorational album to date. Not one song on this album sounds like any of the others, and I really admire that. There's a bunch of different narratives speckled out through this album in the songs, but no answers are really given for any of them, leaving this weird sense of mystery that I really enjoy. Like there's the mystery of this dream of Amanda, who is Emma, who is this labyrinth-faced man. There's a lot of unanswered questions, but I still feel it's a complete package here. This album possibly features the greatest work of Lydmor to date, but at the same time there's just some painfully generic cuts. It really pulls it down, but I'm still giving this an 8 out of 10. So that's it for this review. I hope you enjoyed. The next week or so I'll be taking a short break from reviewing to talk about the 2021 Grammys and how shit they probably are gonna be. Perhaps I'll find the time to review the upcoming Lana Del Rey album, but I won't promise anything. Anyways, thanks for watching. I'll see you soon. I didn't get out of frame, fuck.